Our next speaker is Market Unit Lead for Accenture in Austria, Germany, and Switzerland. She supports clients from various industries with complex business transformations, rapidly increasing their digital footprint and creating exciting new customer experiences. Please give it up for Christina Raab.
So good afternoon. It's fantastic to be here today and be with this vibrant community. And indeed, I think there is a lot to discuss because we have seen unprecedented change since we met the last time here 3 years ago. So what I want to do for the next 20 minutes is actually take a step back and look at all the changes that we have seen in the last 24 months, contextualize the change, understand what companies need to do to be successful in this world of change, and then also highlight how important technology is to make companies successful in this time of change. I think you have seen a lot of that change in the previous discussions and panels. And we put together for today a bit of an overview of all the different changes and challenges that we have seen over the last couple of weeks, be it in media, social media, but also one-on-one discussions with colleagues, clients, and partners. And this is incredible. So it's a mixture of the war in Ukraine, inflation, supply chain challenges, cybersecurity, food problems. It's the ongoing technology change and digitization. It's challenges when it comes to talent. And by the way, the pandemic is not over. So all of that is coming at once, and it's coming in a very short period of time. So you might ask, but then what's different from the crisis that we have just gone through, so the COVID crisis? And I think it's fundamentally different. Because yes, we were unprepared when COVID came in, but then I think the reaction was pretty much consistent, and at a certain point it was even predictable. And when you talk to companies today, they would say, yeah, the pandemic as such, we know how to do that. But this is different. First of all, it's much more complex. And then the different changes are hitting companies in different ways, depending on the country you live in the industry you operate, and in the specific context of your company. Just one example, there is a lot of discussion around inflation. It's all across the globe, but it's very different. So for example, in North America, it's due to monetary policy, or you could also say an overheated economy. In Europe and in Germany, it's more about supply chain shortages and energy problems. So this is the new world order we are looking at. And if you want to be provocative, I would even call it a world disorder. And this is what we are trying to navigate and trying to understand all in one. Now, these trends are super fundamental. They will cause a tectonic change in the way we operate, we work, and we live. So it's not enough to do just a bit of change here and there, but it requires substantial and also radical change. And that change will not happen in a month or even a couple of quarters. It will require years to manage this change and adapt. And I would even say it's the job of this decade. And none of us as leaders has gone through similar challenges. Still, I think this is the endeavor of our generation here to start solving some of the problems that we are seeing here. To go through that, obviously, that requires a lot of vision. It requires clarity and focus and agility. And just to show how deep the change is that we are going to face, I'm going to pick one example, and that's the example of supply chains, because that's been discussed a lot in the media, and we all feel every day that we do have a supply chain problem. And indeed, we had that problem before, already last year, before the Ukraine war. So looking at the Eurozone, we have lost 150 billion of GDP due to supply chain challenges. That's close to 1% of the Eurozone GDP. Now additional changes have come in, and so the prediction right now for the Eurozone is that we will lose this and next year another 900 billion just due to supply chain challenges. This will be up to 7.7% of our GDP. And Germany is specifically affected by this because we're a very networked and interconnected company with a global trade quota of 65%, and that's much above all the other European countries. So what does that mean? It's a substantial change. It will turn some industries and regions upside down in Germany, because the discussion around transportation and logistics is changing. It's no longer just about cost. It is multidimensional. It is about how do I diversify? How do I manage my partners? Do I bring local production back into Germany and Europe? And a nice new word has come up, which is called friendshoring. So do I take a decision to only buy from friends? So countries where I feel we have the same moral and standards. But what it also means is that you try to manage a completely different situation. While in the past, we have tried to optimize a static situation, very predictable. So that was called just in time in our supply chain logic. Now it's completely different. We will optimize a very dynamic setup. And this is why it's called just in case. And this is exactly where technology, data, and analytics will play a crucial role to solve all of that. But also bringing together all of that will probably mean that we will not solve the supply chain problem earlier than 18 or maybe 24 months in the future. So just alone supply chain is a huge challenge to master. And there are many other things coming in, many other challenges and transformations. So that's what I call a multidimensional or compressed transformation. I think what is good is I'm positive that in Germany we do have the capabilities and the means to tackle this change. But we need to act with more agility, with more determination, and a lot quicker than in the past. Now, what is it now exactly that companies will have to do to come stronger out of this crisis, to know how to navigate uncertainty? And this is three very fundamental things, and I believe that technology will play a key role. So number one is what I call the total enterprise reinvention. It means that companies need to use data, technology, and AI to master the challenges, be agile, and grow, be successful. The second one is not looking at sustainability as a problem, a regulatory thing you just have to do, but take it as a business opportunity and look into sustainability by design. And all of that requires a lot of skilled talent. And that's, for me, number three. So how do we master the talent challenge. And I believe that talent management needs to be a top agenda in every board. And I believe that there is a special attention for technology talent to be looked after. The good thing, many of the challenges that we have seen on the disorder slides are interlinked and connected. These three topics are interconnected as well, so they have a positive impact on each other, and mastering them gives you an overall positive spin. I'll now double-click on all of these three and give a bit of a background, what they mean, and what it actually requires companies to be successful in this context. So number one is the total enterprise reinvention. And I think we've all seen that companies that have business models based on platforms have been extremely and extraordinarily successful. And at the same time, we have seen that during Corona's companies who have been able to apply technology or adapt their technologies very easily right from the start have come out stronger than ever before, more competitive than ever before. And I believe this will happen once again during this crisis. So using data, technology, and applied intelligence for transforming the business inside, for creating new experiences with customers and clients, and creating new products will be key and will be the substance of new competitiveness. So creating this new digital core that companies are built on. Good news is German companies are increasing their investment in technology. We've seen that the budget of the top companies in Germany in last year have increased by 6%, their investment for technology. So this is good news, but at the same time, if we look at the overall amount invested, it is still relatively small compared to some of the investment we are seeing in China or in North America. So we need to speed up, we need to invest more to stay competitive. I think there is one special watch-out area for me, for a company that is strong as an industrial heart of Europe. And this is how can we monetize data coming from the industrial context, what we might call Industry 4.0. And I think that needs to be a core area of investment, which means also investment in cloud, in digital twins, in connectivity. We did a study together with Bitkom, and it says that 50% of our companies feel they are well prepared to mastering and leading in Industry 4.0. But that also means that 50% do not feel they are well prepared. And I believe it's super important to help companies invest there, especially the small and medium-sized companies. So this is now all about digitizing an enterprise. But there is a new technology coming, and I know there is quite some conversation here going on in hub.berlin around this technology. And this is obviously the metaverse. And for me, that's the next step of reinventing enterprises. So the first step is digitizing. The metaverse is all about virtualizing enterprises. And I believe there is not the one metaverse. It is a continuum. It changes depending on what the use case is. So it is, for example, a mixture of virtual and real. So it's real. It can be complete immersion, but it can also be mixed reality. It's a combination of different technologies that will expand, like augmented, virtual, like blockchain, like digital objects, and all the connectivity of 5G and edge connected to that. And I believe there are many use cases. It ranges from a spectrum of new customer experiences, and I think that we're all starting to see, but there is also a use in new business models and new ways of operating companies. Now, people tell me, is that real? Is it a hype? Is it just another Second Life that some of you might have seen about 10, 15 years ago? And I believe it is real. It will revolutionize the way we work and live. And why is that? Because the technologies are ready now and our behaviors have changed. So we are no longer individuals that go online once in a while. We are online all the time. And during Corona, we have learned that we can have two lives, a physical life and a virtual life. And this is, I think, the context where now the metaverse continuum can work. And some of the German companies are already heavily invested into metaverse. For example, Adidas, that has brought an NFT collection end of last year and have earned in a couple of hours millions of dollars just by bringing up that collection. This will transform retail. This will transform also the way we look at showrooms in cities. So for example, do we need to repurpose showrooms in cities? So there will be a lot of change and deep disruption, but also manufacturing and industrial companies are looking at it, how to create and to serve products, or for example, how to really do more about training and upskilling of people through the metaverse. So I believe this is a true investment area for the German economy. Which brings me now to the second topic, which is sustainability by design. There is a huge commitment from German companies to sustainability. Indeed, 1/3 of our top companies have declared to be carbon-free or carbon neutral by 2045. Looking at what they are doing, they need to significantly accelerate what they are doing. It's not enough what's happening now, but I'm confident with a change of the setup with Ukraine and understanding the dependency on energy, this will accelerate. And once again, technology can help here. If we look at 2045, and remember, this is when many of the companies want to be carbon neutral, technology can contribute up to 1/4 of CO2 reduction that we need to do. So I think this is fundamental, and there are many ways to do that. And again, it's linked to technology. It's about digital twins. It's about smart mobility, smart grid, and also, for example, smart houses and homes. So this is real benefit from an economic perspective that we need to embark on, given our dependency on energy. But being sustainable and responsible has more than just CO2. It is also super important for the talent to be attracted by an employer. And we all know how hard it is to find talented people. We have seen a great resignation starting in the US, where people have decided to change their job and look for new opportunities. At the same time, we need more and more new talent to master some of the challenges that we have seen before. Now, what does that mean? Companies do apply at candidates to take a job, and not a candidate to apply at a company. It is companies who don't look into what does that employee do for me? What's the business case? Why would I take him or her? It's the other way around. Companies are starting to think, what do I have to do to make this person net better off when joining my company? So I think this is a true change in mindset. So what does need to be done, obviously, is very individual, but there are some common themes of how to attract talent. One is, of course, purpose. We've talked about it. And it's interesting that only 1/3 of German companies have expressed explicitly a purpose. So there is work to do also to attract talent. But then once again, technology can also help to attract talent. It is about opening up new talent pools, for example, through hybrid working or working from home. It is about tapping into potential that sits abroad and can be integrated into the workforce through technologies. But it's also about automation and intelligent automation, where we will be able to automate jobs that we wouldn't have dreamt to automate maybe 10 or 5 years ago. But it's also about up and reskilling continuously of employees, especially when it comes to technology skills. And I truly believe there needs to be a change from companies looking at them as a consumer of talent to real talent creators, and continuously look for that change. Now, what's the conclusion? The world is changing, it's quick, it's disruptive, it comes at high speed. And companies need to continue to invest. And this is a decisive point. And some are already talking about a K recovery. So we're going down. The companies that do invest will come out stronger than ever before. That's the upper line. Companies who do not will really struggle, and that's the lower line. We have seen that in COVID, and it will continue. So in summary, investment into total enterprise reinvention is important. Looking at sustainability as a business opportunity, cradle to cradle. And number 3, rethink radically your talent strategy. And I think we all know time of crisis is also time for reinvention and for bold ideas, and technology will have a key role. So the time is now to make choices, to invest, and path our way to more growth. Thank you very much.